Xenoblades has one of the best video game soundtracks ever. No wonder. After all, some of the most renowned video game composers have worked together on this OST to create a true masterpiece. I mean, even someone who has no idea what this game is will have heard this banger at least once. Every track in this soundtrack manages to perfectly capture the emotions that the current place or situation is supposed to evoke. And there's a lot of unique places in this huge world. This came out on a Wii? But today, I want to talk about a specific type of theme, day and night variants. Most video games handle these variants on a pretty basic level. For example, a night theme might literally just be a slowed down version of the day theme with some instrument changes here and there. And although Xenoblade does this as well, in a lot of cases actually, two areas specifically will grab any player's attention when the night finally strikes. Not only because of their drastic change in aesthetic, but especially their music. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm a nerd. And today we'll be taking a look at how Xenoblade's day and night music enhances its area's atmosphere like no other game does. When first entering Satoral Marsh, you're greeted with this foggy, swampy landscape, decorated with a bunch of dead trees and huge crystal pillars coming out of the ground. The music starts with a groovy bassline intro lasting 4 bars, that establishes our root note B. There's a couple embellishments occasionally leading up to the B an octave higher to create that funk bass feeling, or just general mix-ups preventing the bassline from just being one note all the time. Entering this area and hearing all the frog noises and its bassline immediately creates a misty feeling. The area is pretty lifeless and empty, and so is the music in the beginning, only giving you this bassline to hold on to. A little later, the bassline is accompanied by a repeated 16th note piano pattern, generally outlining a B minor chord by playing the 3rd, 5th, 4th and 1st scale degree of our key B minor. We get our first melodic idea with this marimba playing staccato octaves. The bass also gains a little more freedom and implements these slides. In the next 4 bars, this melodic idea is developed, and the bass transitions us into the next chord, which would normally be major in this key as it is the 7th chord, but here it is minor, using the flattened second of the key that evokes a Phrygian feeling. The Phrygian mode is a minor scale with a flattened second for everyone who doesn't know. The Phrygian touch gives the player a sense of uncertainty for a short time, not knowing what might be ahead of them or what might lurk in the waters of the swamp.
I am under the water, please help me.
Huh?
We then repeat this chord change in the next bars, but then resolve back into B major instead, creating this need for resolution as this movement could be a 4-5-1 in E minor. Instead, we begin the B section with the C chord. I see this as some sort of a modulation or key change to C Lydian. The Lydian mode is just a major scale with a sharp 4th, and it's actually the happiest or lightest sounding mode. What makes me believe that this is a modulation is that after the C chord, most chords seem to revolve around C as the key center. From a storytelling point, I'd say that the Phrygian sound earlier is supposed to evoke a hint of uncertainty and tension. But the further Shulk and his companions venture into the swamp, they get more determined, which is symbolized through this hopeful heroic B section. Or the composer just played around the keyboard and thought this sounded pretty cool, I don't know. There's definitely more ways to analyze this section. I personally do see it as a full modulation, but everybody could interpret it differently. Now, although all of this can be interpreted very theoretically like I did, the composer could have just happened to pick chords that fit the atmosphere and context of this place. She certainly also captured the area's atmosphere in the night theme. How much better can this ugly place look at night? Let me advance the time to midnight, yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, at night, this place turns into a completely different world. All the previously dead trees now have these leaves made out of light growing on them, and the place is filled with new animals. You could say the difference is like day and night. To match this completely new environment, the music obviously needed to be adjusted to the beauty you're seeing here. Starting off, the track is now in 3/4 time, slower and now in the key of B flat minor. We start on the G major 7 chord that goes to F minor 7, which then loops for a while before resolving to the tonic B minor 7. A fairly simple 6 to 5 for a couple bars before resolving to 1, which because it's minor gives it a little bit of a bittersweet feeling. The now more prominent piano also fills these gaps here with beautiful B minor 7 arpeggios. There's also this choir vocal melody in the intro, which is Manami Kyoto's trademark. A beautiful oboe outlining the chords gives us a melody as well. Woodwinds are a great way to make something feel more like the night because they have such a light and soothing sound. The piano also still plays these 16th note piano patterns, which is honestly the only connection I could find between the day and night variant. Which isn't a bad thing because the composer had such a vastly different idea to work with. We already have much more colorful and jazzy chords here that really enhance the atmosphere of this vibrant forest. What I found really interesting when transcribing these pieces was how simple they really are. You'd expect something really complicated and clever from such a great soundtrack, but like my homie Chopin once said, simplicity is the final achievement. After one has played a vast quantity of notes and more notes, it is simplicity that emerges as the crowning reward of art. And this is honestly a great example of that. Simplicity is the final achievement. After one has played a vast quantity of notes and more notes. After these chords repeat for a while, we land on a B minor 7 again and use it as a 5 to go to an E flat minor 9 chord from where we do a 2-5-1 to D flat. This increases the jazz and color factor even more and serves as a little modulation for this new section. After that section is then repeated, we unexpectedly go to the major 3 serving as a chromatic passing chord to G flat major 7, where instead of looping again we do something interesting. As I'm sure by now, everybody and their grandma has seen this video, but if you don't know what the Japan or Royal Road progression is, it's basically just a 4-5-3-6, and it's used in a ton of Japanese songs. But it evokes this very hopeful feeling that it's cool to see it used here because once you learn about it, you'll notice it everywhere. This ascending chord progression then leads us up to a resolution into a home key B minor, leading back into the loop. So clearly, such a big change in atmosphere at night had to be properly represented with new music. And I think the composer did a really good job at that. It's so sad that Steve Jobs... What? I read the script wrong, sorry.
It's so sad that Steve Jobs died of ligma.
Who the hell is Steve Jobs?
Ligma balls.
It's so sad that no other games, I know of at least, do these kind of big nightly changes. And when playing Xenoblades, you'll always look forward to nighttime. Valak Mountain is a snowy, vast and lonely landscape, and surprisingly also filled with a lot of these crystal pillars that kind of act as the area's trees. And there's a snowstorm raging. By this point in the game, the player hasn't seen anything like this before, and exploring it can be quite overwhelming due to its size. The day music is also quite unique and composed by ACE+, a group of composers who are known for making smaller, less popular tracks like yeah, anyways, we're in 3-4, the key of D minor, and the track starts with 2 guitars playing these overlap D minor and B flat major chords, keeping the F pedal point in the bass, creating the player a ground to stand on. A very simple 1-6. We get some more guitars in the background later, playing subtle dissonances, and flutes expanding the harmony. An oboe joins to play a lingering calm melody, creating a sense of peace, while outlining a D minor chord. You might notice that we're already using a lot of woodwinds to create a light, snowy atmosphere, so the night theme will probably find a different solution to create its own nightly atmosphere. After the oboe joins, we now alternate between these D minor chords, going to the 5 and back to 1 in a perfect cadence, finally resolving that pedal point for a while. Later, we get a sudden long break interrupting the flow of music, before kicking back in, this time with a pizzicato contrabass, and a harpsichord joining in, which creates a very regal and mighty sound due to its association with the Baroque era. I can only imagine that this was done due to the ancient ruins that can be found on Valak Mountain. After a lot of the same chords repeating, we finally get to a new chord, G minor, the 4 chord, where we start to speed up the harmonic rhythm by starting this 4-5-1-6 and adding in beautiful strings that make the landscape sound even snowier. Then, instead of going from 5 to 1, all instruments stop playing except for the harpsichord, leading into the B section with this A7 arpeggio, which surprisingly resolves to E flat major instead, the chord a tritone away from A. This modulation brings a new spice to the harmony and sounds a lot more triumphant and surprising. From the E flat, we drop to D, which then resolves into G minor as a sort of 5-1, which then resolves into this surprising C major again, acting like a 5-1, with C normally being minor in the key of E flat major, repeating this section before finally resolving to G minor. This next part is by far the most interesting in my opinion. All instruments disappear, except for the single glockenspiel, playing these harsh dissonances. And to me this gives me a sense of danger and mystery that might hide in these mountains. And it certainly could represent the feelings of the cast. Valak Mountain is the last area in the game before entering more dangerous areas. And there's certainly a sense of doubt inside the characters as they're about to venture into enemy territory. Honestly, this place looks good enough. I don't know how it could be better at night. Although this change isn't as drastic as the one in Satoral Marsh, the crystal trees now send these bright pillars of light into the sky and paint the atmosphere in a yellow mist. The snowstorm is also gone now, giving the place a calmer feel. What the night theme does here is so fitting in my opinion. Most of the track is a solo piano arrangement accompanied by a cymbal in the background. It makes the mountain feel lonely. The piano starts the track on its own by only playing this upper register motif outlining an E flat major 7 chord. This single line already gives the mountain landscape this lonely and mysterious feeling. We continue by properly establishing C minor as a tonic, with bigger chords and this 6-4-1 progression, going to the 7 and ending on the 6. From here we get another diatonic progression ending in A flat, where we go back to a new lonely upper register motif. We already created a huge vibe, capturing this place's atmosphere at night, and making something simply more restricted in terms of tempo, fullness of voicings, etc. is also a great way to convey the feeling of night. We go on with this 1-2-5-4-1 progression, ending in a plagal cadence. All of this is accompanied by a new electric bass playing a similar pedal tone as in the day version, holding a C note. From here we make our way to E flat and then G flat. G flat is an interesting chord because, like in a day theme, it's the tritone away from C. Even though we didn't immediately go there from C, but the idea is still there. So we managed to go to a really far chord in a very short time already. Later in the piece we modulate to E flat major for a short time, where we go back and forth between E flat and G flat, which then suddenly resolves into G minor, a half step below. It's kind of like a wake-up call because we've been using these very happy chords for a long time and suddenly get thrown into C minor territory again. Here we go back and forth between 4 and 6 until we come to this new section, which again sounds very heroic, like you're climbing a massive mountain, although you're kind of descending on this one most of the time. So here as well, the composers found a great way to capture the feeling of night in a very different environment. I hope you understand why so many people love this game's music and atmosphere. In fact, it's probably my favorite game ever, and I encourage everyone to play it. I was originally going to also cover the RFC theme because 3 areas just felt better than 2, but even though that track is fantastic, the day-night difference really isn't that big. I really hope you learned something from this video because it was in fact aimed at people who already know a little theory. I really enjoy making these videos, and as time goes by they'll definitely get better. I promise. Let me know in the comments if there's any games music that you'd like to see a video on, because with the size of my audience right now, the odds are pretty high I'll actually consider it. Subscribe by the way. Anyway, because the RF theme was too good to be left out, you can listen to it in the outro.